All right, Matt, the mortgage guy here, talking to Rebecca Richardson, the mortgage mentor, all about social media, all about reaching audience at scale and driving business.
Yeah.
I'd be curious too, as somebody who's relatively new to TikTok and, putting out, what I feel is quite a bit of content and, getting some traction, but, 1,300, 130,000, quite a bit away. So how long did it take to say go from 0 to your first 10,000 subscribers?
I think it was about 4 months, perhaps. I have to go back in and see all the screenshots because I keep them in my phone. I'm like, oh, look at these milestones.
Yeah.
So it takes some time because it takes time for the algorithm to learn who you are, who wants to see your content, and then I think then as a creator to figure out what type of content your community wants to hear and how to tweak the delivery or maybe even the formatting and really kind of find your voice versus just copycatting somebody else.
Right.
And that takes time.
Yeah. And I think that probably goes for all social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You put out content.
Yeah.
You see what stuff people like.
Right.
And that's feedback. And if you're good as a creator, you say, I'm going to do more of the stuff that people like.
Right. So, and I think that there's a fair amount of intuition, and obviously there's great data and analytics that you can get into, but just kind of getting a feel like, oh, okay, this felt really authentic to me. And I feel like I really connected with my community and it performed well. I mean, that's the holy grail.
You learn best practices by just creating.
Yes.
I think that's something that, I heard in what you're saying is like, as you go, you're learning best practices, you're listening to your audience. Ultimately, like as a creator on any social platform, like you've got an audience, you're trying to add value to them, and you get direct feedback every time. It's like, oh, I posted that and it got 2,700 views in the first 24 hours, they must have liked it.
And then to have a little bit of kind of like, I wonder what clicked. Like, I wonder what, was it the way that I, did I provoke them a little bit talking about that PMI isn't a scam? Or was it just that it was shorter? Or maybe sometimes was it longer? Did I tell a client story that really helped somebody connect? You have to, that's where the intuition and experimentation comes in to then figure out, again, what your particular community will identify with.
Authenticity is like you dive deep in your niche of VA.
Yes. Yeah.
And, I've watched some of your stuff and I know that, especially a consumer who doesn't know anything about VA loans is going to watch 5 or 6 of those and go, oh, however she delivers it, she's a VA expert.
Right.
If I'm going to get a VA loan, I should probably give her a call.
Right.
Maybe talk to us about niches and how you found riches in those niches.
Oh geez, so that's we're not going to go that far back because that requires a couch and a therapist. But when I started doing TikToks, I used to teach a class, and I would do it for free for realtors. It was their continuing education class, and did they ever use any of the information I taught them? Tough to say. But I was like, okay, how can I get this content onto social media? Because the pandemic had just started, and I was like, all right, well, I didn't like meetings anyway, but now I can do all the things. So broke it down and went, okay, I'm going to talk about just this thing out of this part of the chapter, out of this bullet point. And that's what I did. I went, okay, let's talk about the fact that getting out of service, these are the things you need to know. And then that video went viral. Then we talked about using the VA loan over again. That was the very first video that went viral, was you can use your VA loan over and over again. It is rinse and repeat, and you can have more than one VA loan at a time. On the screen of the actual video, my cell phone number, and call me.
Made that mistake once. Or twice.
But it was wild. I'm like, you guys didn't know this? Like, what else do you want to know? I know it all, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
and I think that's the big thing is it's just
bite-sized pieces of information.
That's exactly what I was going to say is the propensity is when we do love what we do is to give it all. Like, let me explain all of it. Like, I care about your strategy and your process, and let me give you the full money like we would on the phone. And you can't do that on video. I mean, I'm sure it works very well for YouTube, but I'm saying particularly for short form video, you have to be very condensed. But because we take pride in what we do, we don't want to shortchange or have it feel like we're misleading them. So one of the lessons I had to learn was make it simpler.
My general rule is if I can't explain it to my child who is 7 well enough that she understands it, then I don't know it well enough. Because mommy gives people money to buy houses. That's pretty simple. So she gets it. She goes, I want to do what you do. And I said, no, you don't. But we'll talk about that later, honey. But like, you have to be able to explain it to somebody, for somebody that doesn't do this. And I say this all the time. I tell all my clients, there's no such thing as a stupid question, except if you ask me, do I actually have to make my mortgage payment after I close? Yes, stupid. Any other question past that is not a stupid question. So, and remember, I do this every day. You don't. You're not going to catch me trying to fly a Black Hawk without significant training or do any kind of PsyOps missions or any of the weird stuff they do. So why would you feel bad asking me questions?
You know, we're delivering it in a different way across different platforms, but it's all the same thing. Positioning yourself as the expert, showing folks that you know what you're talking about, and you want to deliver education to help them out on their journey.
Yes.
If they choose to call you and work with you, great.
Yeah.
You know, if not, but it's like, you know, bite size on TikTok. It might be a different way on YouTube, but it's all the same. It's like, here's, you know, financial education and literacy for the average consumer about questions that you have every single day. And the thing that I think is always interesting is like, I'll get mortgage folks reach out and they're like, what type of content do I make? And I'm like, I don't know. What questions do you get every single day? Like, answer that question with a camera in front of your face on record. And like, that's a video. Like, once you've grown it and you've got a bunch of folks that trust you as a VA expert reach out, or the mortgage mentor, you know, is getting hundreds of thousands of views every month, they're gonna reach out to you. It drives in business, but like, in the process of creating all those videos, you're gonna stop for 10 minutes and be like, okay, before I record this, let me make sure like I know this guideline really well. Like, you become better in the process. And I tell people like,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that, because I've got
100%.
the handbook like memorized, but I will still be like, I have to check something. Hold on.
Well, because God forbid you put it out on the interwebs because you knew that it is wrong.
Right.
I mean,
and when you do it enough, like I made 650 YouTube videos, I've said wrong loan limits, I've made mistakes, right? But it's like, get out there and record and do it, because you're gonna learn in the process. And like, I think everybody is afraid to get on video, and so they're gonna do at least a little bit of research.
But I think you do have to go into it with the right headspace of, I'm here to learn and I'm here to teach, and I'm not here to pitch. Like, you have to turn the salesperson off. Yes, understand how to convert people, but if you're just there to like, I'm gonna create a video and I'm gonna get 15 leads, like, stop with that. You know, sometimes you just get, you know, super straight down the middle, and then sometimes you get the weirdest, like, hi, I'd like a DSCR loan on a chicken farm that's 47,000 acres, and I just went self-employed yesterday. Is that a problem? So, because again, if you present yourself as an expert, sometimes you get really random stuff, because they're like, if anybody can do it,
if anyone can do it too,
But
my guess would be, and this is probably just stereotyping, right? That like, you know, a TikTok lead is going to reach out and they're, you know, 17 and they work at McDonald's, you know, and they're not necessarily qualified yet, but you get like highly qualified people.
That is probably one of the biggest misconceptions. So thank you for teeing that up. I'll give you your $20 later. The age demographics, the average age demographic is actually a lot older for TikTok. So I mean, I have everybody from, you know, people who are buying their first home at, you know, 25 to 35 to, I'm working with a couple that both worked at Microsoft. They have all kinds of properties and they're buying, they consolidated, they're buying a second home in Washington and 800 credit scores, crazy money in the bank, asset depletion. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
right.
I love it.
That's cool to know.
So yeah, I mean, really do kind of get the full gamut. So it's not just like, I didn't realize that there was a T in a mortgage, and you taught me that. So what else should I know? I mean, that's not. It's a lot of legitimate business. I think it's good to really focus in and niche down on one platform that works, you know, for you, your subject matter expert niche, and your style. But I think it is good to sometimes have, you know, your foot in a couple other places. Right. Just for the visibility.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining today. It was good to talk.
Absolutely.
I learned something new.
Nice
You learned something new.
Always do.
I'll try to teach you something next time.
I need it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.